We're back. We're here again.
Hey.
Why are we wearing the same clothes? That's weird. Did you call me and tell me to wear the same clothes?
I think it just happened this way.
Weird.
It's definitely a week from when we last did it.
Or several days at the very least.
Yeah.
Certainly isn't the same night.
Yeah, so this is episode 2. The last episode we did, I mean, there was a lot of talking, a lot of rambling, a lot of talks about fires, a lot of talks about going to California and what we've been shooting and what we've been cutting.
Some people would say it was a lot of excuses for why things are taking too much time.
Yeah, and let's address that now.
Okay, let's address it. Should we introduce ourselves?
Yeah, I think.
Or did we put
Yeah, names.
Randall Lobb?
Yeah. I mean, a quick intro for me. I'm Adam Spierney. I'm the guy who came up with the idea for this documentary. I'm also the guy responsible for making this thing take so long.
My name is Randall Lobb, and I am one of the owners of Faux Pop Media, and probably 50 or 150% of why this documentary is taking so long. That's completely not true.
It's a joint effort.
Do you know why it's taking so long?
Well, I know the reason, because movies take a long time to make.
Because movies.
Yeah.
But there's another reason why. And we'll address it in this episode 2 of Chasing Shenmue, The Comeback. There should be a theme song.
Well, we roll it at the beginning.
Oh,
we could roll it now.
And then musical's fun, blah, 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 blah. Good times, good times. Then we
Hard
come
cut.
back in
And
say,
we're back.
yeah, we're
Okay.
back. That was good.
Yeah.
So, first of all, what we're going to talk about today, we saw these items last episode. They were here, but these artifacts were never discussed.
I wanted to talk about them. I mean, I'm wearing my Yokosuka City shirt that I got when I went on the Shenmue pilgrimage.
So
got
yeah,
these cool replica mirrors here.
We heard a little bit
Dreamcast
about the
vibe.
pilgrimage, but can you just give us a little ding-dong about what each of these items are?
We'll do a quick thing. So
Yeah.
we have, I mean, this is clearly a Sega Dreamcast coffee or tea mug. I got this at the Super Potato, which is a video game store in Akihabara.
So this would hold approximately a tall. What do you think?
I think if you're going by Starbucks terms,
What if you're going by Tim Hortons? How many Tim Hortons? That's a small.
That's Tim Horton sizes. That's I would throw it right out and not drink it at all. That's the size it is.
Whoa.
Ooh, I went there.
So if that's a tea drink, that's a nice, gentle tea drink, but you might fill it up again.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's a Japanese medium, let's say that.
Okay,
Good,
and
yeah.
what else have we got here?
And then I have I can't see from here, but Dragon and Phoenix replica mirrors. These were 3D print modeled in 3D Studio Max and Maya, printed using a 3D printer, I believe, and then painted by hand along with the Hazuki crest from Shenmue 1.
Show the tat, show the
Let's
key.
Show the tat.
The key. Here we go.
Boom.
If you push this up to Adam's tattoo and turn it, he actually comes to life. He bursts into life.
Now, so these two here, I recently updated our Facebook page profile picture with these two mirrors. I've also been using them to shoot some B-roll, some like product shots, filler shots, whatever. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the guy who actually made these for me.
Yeah.
And oh boy, here we go.
Something's happening, everybody.
Oh God.
For those people at home who are listening to this through their ear holes,
It's the NDA.
there's his NDA.
Oh.
Okay, that we can't even talk about the NDA.
Right. Well, what I'll do is I thought I would have it here, but I will put the link to the guy's website.
Yeah, let's do that.
In the description. But his name is Joe Torres, aka Rio HD. I saw these mirrors on eBay. They were sold, so I reached out to him. I asked him, hey, would you mind making me another copy of these for the documentary? I'll pay you, of course, for your work. He did so right away. He put a lot of effort into them. He sent them to me really quick. I think they look really cool. So just by comparison, my hand, they're a little smaller than the actual mirrors in the game. But, you know, when you frame it, when you light it a certain way, I mean, I thought they looked pretty cool in that photo. So thank you again, Joe, for doing this. You guys, he did an amazing job. And check out his website. And if you want to buy some,
I'll bet we're putting his website up right now.
yeah, definitely.
There
No,
it
he was a great guy to work with.
But there's more in there.
Yeah, there's more.
There's more
some
stuff.
cool stuff. I mean, I got the business cards, of course, of the cool people you meet
Yeah, I
along the
mean,
way.
that happens.
And if you see the episode, I think will be coming next.
Yeah,
or if it's already
the story
been
is out.
with Peter Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know if the
Phantom
story's out or
Island.
not.
I don't know, maybe.
But there it is.
But so this is the official licensed
Now go to the A-cam.
Shenmue Sega pin that was at the Tokyo Game Show 2016 back in September.
Pull that back to your face. It's out of focus unless it's at your face. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Right on the nose.
I actually like the way you look with that there. You should get a new tattoo of that.
Can I just get like this surgically implanted right here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know a guy. Wow,
that
that was a nice cut to me.
Yeah, that was good.
That's
So
good.
I believe the odds of getting this, it was a 1 in 6 chance of getting it on the the vending machines. And the 2 people I went with, AXM on the dojo, or Alex Munoz, he got it on his first try.
That's
His first try, and I didn't film his reaction.
I would say what are the odds, but I actually know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 6.
So he was super excited.
Yeah.
Peter, on the other hand, he was not so lucky. I'll spare the details.
It was not good.
He tried his best, and in the end, you know what, it worked out for him because he got one for himself and he got one for me too.
That's very nice of him.
Yeah, I can't say enough how awesome of a guy Peter is.
You just did. You just said it, and then you changed the
I
subject.
have to
you
keep saying it.
You actually can say it enough because you changed and started talking about the next item. I'm not. You carry on. I don't want to disparage your.
I'm trying my best here, Rand.
Let's hook this up again. Get that.
Let's put it here. Unlock the key.
Unlock, and now go to the next story.
Okay. And finally, this, I don't know, on the B cam. Oh, there it is.
For people who are at home, he's holding up.
This is a 5 yen
Wait a minute,
coin.
everyone is at home.
Yeah.
There's
Nobody's
nobody-
in their cars right now. Nobody's watching this at work. If anybody's watching this at all.
Hey, go cut to my camera for a second. Thank you for doing this during your work. I appreciate that. Secondly, I hope you're not driving as you watch this for your own sake and those around you. Okay, that was good.
All right, back to me. So this is a 5 yen coin.
Mm-hmm.
And this was actually given to me by Yu Suzuki.
Stop it.
What?
No, I was just like reacting
Oh,
to
like
your...
get out of town.
Yeah.
And he didn't just like give me a $5 because I was down on my luck, or I wanted to
Hey
buy,
kid, take a 5.
or I wanted to buy some toys from the capsule vending machine.
Although that would be within context.
I think so. But when we were in Kamakura going to the shrines, we were all part of the I guess the journey that people do there is they wash the money, the ceremonial washing of the money. And a lot of people do it with these coins because these are considered lucky in Japanese culture. As told me by people there.
How many people make money laundering jokes?
Oh man, I should have thought of that.
I can't.
I don't think puns are huge in Japan.
I don't. Maybe they are. Maybe they
I
aren't.
don't know.
Do you speak fluent Japanese?
No.
No, me
I don't
neither.
know. I'm pretty decent at puns though. I mean, I try. So I didn't have a 5 yen coin on me, so Yu Suzuki gave me his, and then I
Did not throw it in the water.
Well, so what you do is you put it in this little basin, and then you scoop 3 scoops of this like holy water thing in the Shinto temple cave thing, and then you kind of keep that with you, and that's
It's lucky.
you're lucky. So yeah,
That's
I have
awesome.
my little Shenmue shrine box
That's
that,
nice.
that I keep.
Now, who made this box?
This was also made by Joe Torres. Here we go.
Oh,
Check it out. Jeremy, cut to the camera. Rio HD at Carbon Made.
you got to pull that back to your
.com.
face again.
That is where you could find the artist. So there it is. I had it here all along.
Yeah, that's nice. He did a nice job.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
He's obviously a good maker of things.
Yeah.
And he's a Shenmue fan.
Yeah, he is. He does a lot of cool. It's cool how people could sculpt something in a 3D program and then have this as the end product, something tangible that you could hold in your hands.
Well, here we are back to this thing.
Yeah.
Here's an example of where the community starts in a fake place, virtual world, and then pops out into the real world with real items and real connections. It's cool. I like that.
I forgot one more thing. Cut to the 2cam. This was my Yokosuka City shirt. When I went on the Shenmue pilgrimage, there was a bar, and I think the bar was called Yokosuka City. But me and Alexander Munoz, AXM, we were walking, and we just look in the window, and we see a shirt that says Yokosuka City on it. And literally, like at the same time we walk, our eyes see the shirt, we stop, we look at each other, and we're both like, oh, we're buying that fucking shirt.
We're buying this shirt.
We're buying that
We just got rated F? Did we just get rated F?
We could beat that.
F for explicit?
I don't know.
Just wait. F doesn't stand for explicit.
No.
Stands for fun.
You're a teacher.
Stands for
Don't
fun.
you give F's to your students?
No.
Can't do that
We're
anymore.
not allowed to do that
No?
anymore.
Okay. But yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, really cool.
So we
Shout
now
out to that
know
place.
we know about all the items. That's great.
Yeah.
What we should talk about now is what. Well, first of all,
We wanted to talk about the
process.
The process, and well, let's take it back to. I think a good place to start is when we released that first teaser trailer on YouTube about a year ago. So we
Yes.
actually released that. We didn't time it. It was kind of the Kickstarter happened. It caught us by surprise.
I would say it was an enormous surprise.
Yeah, I mean, because we're working now with Yu Suzuki, and not working with, but we have their blessing to, how would you word that?
We're waiting for the opportunity to work with them based on their timetable.
Yes, but they are aware of what we're doing.
We're in contact with them, and they're.
And I've been to their studio.
That's
I've met
right.
them.
They're big supporters of what we're planning, and we've talked about our plans, and they've shared with us as much of their plan as they can.
Yep.
But what they're doing is an enormous. I would say it's an undertaking that dwarfs any documentary you would make.
Yeah.
That we would make. It's a huge process. It's very time consuming, and we can't do things that don't fit into WiseNet's
Yes.
plans
And
Yusun's plans.
And they are busy making a game, trying to hit a specific deadline. So the timing really has to be impeccable to make this happen.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hurdles. But to backtrack to what I was saying, we are totally apart from them. We're not a subsidiary of Sega. We're not part of any of that stuff. We're just all independent people.
We have no negotiations with Sony or any distributors or any studios or anybody. Everything that we're doing it out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
100%.
And I have a wedding coming up, and I just got a puppy, and you have a family, and we all have families.
I do.
And that's part of the, when some of the angrier messages come in saying, what's taking so long? Why isn't it out yet?
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the answer. For those of you who are frustrated, yes, we agree. But we don't get to decide when we get material. It's up to WiseNet, and their game is the plan. Whatever they are doing, whatever's happening with their development, that's what we react to. There are many more people that we want to shoot. There's much more that we have to collect, and it's all based on the timetables that are being laid out on a week-to-week basis, probably at their end.
So now that I mentioned that, I
The angry
clarified,
fans.
not the angry fans, but the fact that we aren't related to Sega or any of that stuff, that we are independent. So when the Kickstarter first came out, that was enough information to us to say, hey, maybe we should cut together what we've been doing so far and put something out there so fans could kind of see what we're doing, and maybe, I don't want to say like take advantage of the hype, but use that as a platform.
Should we tell them the bitter irony that we had been talking about releasing?
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
We were going to Kickstarter.
Yeah, because it worked well with your previous stuff. And
that was our plan.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. I have an idea. Shenmue is a game that a lot of people like.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to Kickstarter and see if there's fan support for Kickstarter? Great
Check.
idea.
Yep.
Why don't we talk about it right around the week of E3?
It's good.
And then what happens?
And then that Kickstarter happened.
And it turns out the fans are excited about
They're very
Shenmue.
excited, record-breaking excited.
And maybe that excitement emptied their pockets. And now if you go back to Kickstarter, if you go back to Kickstarter and say, and how about this too? They might say, you're piling on. You're piling on.
Yeah.
So that also slowed us down.
Yeah, and I mean, we could very well have released a Kickstarter a few months after that, but I was kind of hesitant because I didn't, as a fan, I didn't want to take away from what Shenmue was doing with their fundraising.
I don't know anything about game development, but it is a time and money sink.
Yeah.
No matter how cheap or how expensive.
Yeah.
And the kickstarting of it all, they never pretended that it was the sum total of the game, did they? They never said this amount is how much the game will cost. It's far in excess of that. And they're raising the money other ways, and that was some of the money that they needed.
So my train of thought before was the Kickstarter and the fact that we released our trailer with that Kickstarter
That's right.
around the time to kind of get some of that momentum. So
Well, we wanted to say to the fans, hey, this is happening too, and it's not in reaction to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
We've already been working on this and shooting material. We didn't want it to look like we were capitalizing when, in fact, we'd been in production for 4 months or 5 months.
So, and I think it came across pretty well for the most part, except there were a few people who seemed to think that the documentary was being produced by Yu Suzuki and his company, and so there was some backlash there, being like, why are they spending all this time and resources making a movie when they have to make a game? And there was also people thinking that because this teaser is coming out with the Kickstarter, that also must mean that the documentary is going to be released by the end of the Kickstarter to generate hype.
Yes.
And there was a lot of people who were saying, yeah, it's going to come out 5 days before the end of the Kickstarter to help boost the final few days of funding.
And it was not.
It was not.
No.
Because I'm not sure if we clarified enough at the time that even though the video is titled Process Teaser, I mean, for people watching a video, you know, when you see a trailer on YouTube, a lot of the time that's a trailer for a game that's coming out in a few months, and which was not the case with us. But what we released at the time was a process teaser showing you guys not like where we're at, but what we're doing and some of the stuff we've gathered.
Announcing ourselves and saying this is happening.
Kind of planting the flag and saying, like, here we are.
Yes, that's exactly what we did. We planted the flag. And also it reveals, ideally, it reveals some of your approach, maybe gives a little tone. It shows a little bit of your chops. Like we had that nice sequence that we shot. You know, it had a nice flavor in it, that thing with my son. Yes. And a beautiful flowing shot. That was very touching, and I think that gave everybody an understanding, oh, these guys are more cinematic. This isn't just, you know, some kids with a movie camera in the backyard. Although it was in fact some adults with a movie camera in a bedroom. Yeah. In my house.
Kind of the same thing, but not really.
No, it's very different actually. We're not kids.
No.
Although we're very childlike in our ease of amusement. So why we release it is obvious. What its goal was is obvious. There was some confusion. People were frustrated. But now we can tell you we're connected to WiseNet. We're moving forward. We're approaching the documentary the same way we approach all our documentaries, which is to say, trying to build a real complete look at the game and the history of it. And that takes a lot of time. And let's talk a little bit about that process. Moving forward from now, what's ahead? What are we doing?
Well, obviously we're going to be reaching out and talking with as many people who were involved in either directly or indirectly with the game back when it was being developed and when it first came out. And I can't stress enough, like it never feels like there's enough material. Like it always feels like
problem.
It's like you could chat with some key people and say that was great. I never thought I would get this person in a million years, and then you go, wait a minute, no, I need more. I need shots of this guy talking about this, and I need this guy to show me the sketchings of this book, or this person to show me the file about when he first came up with this, and it's just this snowball vicious cycle.
And there's another side to it where even if you do get, for Turtle Power we had 200 some hours, and still there's a ton of stuff we didn't get, and that's what some people remember.
The funny thing about that is I remember that. I'm not really a huge Turtles fan. I mean, I like it, I appreciate it, I'm not a diehard, but I thought the documentary was very informative, very well crafted, and I thought it covered a lot of different aspects of the Ninja Turtles franchise. But then hearing and reading some of the nasty comments on the internet about how there were certain things you didn't touch on.
How dare you forget
And
the
so
one
you
thing
guys,
that somebody
you
loves.
guys went from, I remember Isaac talking to me about a 6-hour cut down to a 3-hour cut, down to a 2-hour cut, down to what you guys ended up having, plus all the special features. And still, that wasn't enough Turtles material.
The special features, I believe there were 21, 22, 27, I can't even remember, modules of special features. Paramount did not want us to do those.
Oh.
They didn't have any interest in that, and the actual exact wording was, we have no appetite for that, for a special cut. And that's why also there was no Blu-ray version. They had no appetite for that, and there was also no interest in creating physical discs for anyone outside of North America, which, that's not my decision. So there were people who are frustrated about that, but just in defense of what happens when you're in this process, right now with our Conan the Barbarian documentary, we have a 6.5 hour cut, and we realize it's volume 1. So now we have a 6-hour cut of volume 1 of our Conan documentary. We had a 5.5 hour cut of our He-Man documentary. It's now down to 2 hours, or a little over 2 hours. And we've already started work on Turtle Power Volume 2, and we've shot footage on that. So this kind of staggering what you're doing. You get a certain amount of material, you start working, and then you realize, here's something new that we discovered, or here's a direction that we need to go. And then you go and collect more material, and then you might cut that and react to that. And you're always compiling, and you're always building, and you're always growing. And hopefully, as you do that, you're getting a more complete and more thorough look, and you've got a through line, a narrative, some kind of touch point structure where people get that thing that they want, right? You're going to miss something. Right now, I will tell you, I promise there's a Shenmue fan, at least one, who is going to watch our final documentary and say, oh my God, they don't have blank. And that's straight, we don't. And we probably will never get blank.
Just didn't happen.
We'll do everything we can to get it. Again, to go to the example of another one of the documentaries, in the He-Man documentary, I will get Facebook messages from people saying, you have to interview this person. But if that person does not want to be interviewed, there is nothing I can do. I cannot force someone to be, I mean, I could potentially, but that's an illegal act. That's a felony, and I'm not going to do that. I do not want to make that kind of documentary.
Yeah, that'd be a weird one.
Yeah, I don't want to corral people and argue and force them against their will to talk to me.
So lots of obstacles involved in this, but I don't want it to sound like we're making
I'm not
excuses.
making an excuse.
Yeah, we're not making excuses as to why it's not done yet, just because that's the nature of it.
You have to say this up front, because the way it works now, it would have been in the old days. In the old days, when you make a documentary, the people who see the documentary only see the 2 hours that are shown.
Yeah.
And that's the world of the documentary. The culture that we're in now, everybody knows more about everything. We have access to all the information. There are YouTube videos about everything conceivable. And so people have a breadth of knowledge about these IP that means that they know what they're not getting, or they know the parts that you didn't get that they think are more important, and they don't see the documentary for what it is. They see the documentary in the context of that wider knowledge that they have. So you're wrestling with that, and we have to address it.
And also social media plays a huge factor too. I mean, I could have refrained from ever putting pictures or little video snippets on Facebook, making a Facebook page, putting myself out there and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. I could have kept all that private, but here's the thing. In order to get WiseNet's Yu Suzuki and then their approval, we would have had to physically mail them a pitch video with, or email them a pitch video with a handwritten letter. I mean, they would not have been able to see anything online about what we're doing in our progress. I mean, it still would have been a good shot, but even somebody like Peter Moore, who is a great person to have on this documentary, the reason he probably agreed to be in it in the first place is when I reached out to him, he probably was able to see the page because I sent him the Facebook page, I sent him the trailer. He was able to see that, view it, and say, hey, I think these guys are pretty legit people.
And he could go and look at Turtle Power and see, oh, that it was real
Exactly.
and these people are serious.
So you kind of have to put yourself out there in order for other people to know what it is you're doing so that they could agree to be part of your project. If you kept all your cards close, then you're just a crazy guy messaging people and say, I have an idea for a movie, please be in it. And it's a lot harder.
I actually am that.
Yeah.
That's an accurate description.
That's why we're friends.
I'm a crazy guy with an idea making a movie, messaging people.
So those are our obstacles. Again, we're not making excuses, just telling it like it is.
And so moving forward, we can discuss what we're at now. We are going to do more of these to let people know where we are.
Being transparent, keeping you guys in the loop.
Yeah, and to ask a question, which is the question that we're here to ask in this episode too.
Yeah, we could pose it right now.
So here's the question. Kickstarter, not Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Pre-sale, not pre-sale.
Let us know. Call us now live at 1-800-Shenmue? What are they saying?
Nothing. There's been no call.
All right.
The thing about the Kickstarter and the pre-sale isn't always just the money. Everybody thinks, oh, you just want to get the money, and then when you get the money, then you make a documentary or not. That is not true.
Yeah.
We have to know there are people who are out there who want this documentary. And you need to have some kind of an audience with whom you can make a pact. Hey, you want to put money down so that we make a documentary? We want to make a documentary so that you put money down.
Yeah,
It's a fair discussion.
You guys had some experience with this with your recent He-Man one.
We did.
Which did fairly well, and
Yes.
I mean, there are fans out there who seem to trust and believe in what you guys are capable of, and
Yeah.
and it worked out.
So we kickstarted for about 25,000 and we ended up with 76,000, which is awesome and great.
Oh, good job.
And
I didn't know it was
thank
that high,
you.
actually.
It was.
Wow.
And then we immediately blew that money making a documentary on He-Man,
Yeah.
which is fine. That's
And
what it's for.
It did help. You guys were able to line up and go and do your thing.
It was critical. Without the boost that we got from that, if we had kickstarted at 25 and went out to make the money or make the movie with the money that we had raised up to 25, right now I would be, along with the other four guys, or the other three guys, Isaac, Mark, and Rob, I would be $55,000 in the hole,
Yeah.
just like of cash.
Yeah.
Remember, as we make these docs, we make enormous sacrifices. We don't get paid for that work, which is fine. This is not a complaining thing. This is not a grumping thing. It's just the dark reality of making documentaries on spec. They're huge projects. They take a long time. They take multiple years, and they take way beyond hours that would be understandable.
Yeah.
For example,
yeah.
I'll give you a He-Man example
Go for
again.
it.
There was a 2-week period where we did 33 interviews. And it might have been more than that in 13 days, I believe.
Yeah.
12, 13 days.
And I would imagine it's really hard to justify that if it was all out of pocket the whole way through. I mean, I get it because it's the love of the craft and what you guys are doing. But if there was no compensation or no something to help you guys along, it would be a huge struggle.
That's what we did for Turtle Power Volume 1.
How long did Turtle Power take you guys to make?
5 years.
I thought it was 7. Jeez.
We started in 2008,
Yeah.
November 2008, and we finished in June of 2014, and it was released in August of 2014. So it's
Yeah.
about 6 years.
Wow.
And Conan, we did a documentary, Conan, Our Riddle of Steel, Definitive History of Conan the Barbarian, started that in November of 2014, still working on that and never kickstarted that, although many people have asked that we would do that. And we're making that documentary now. And He-Man we kickstarted and had some money coming through that. Turtle Power Volume 2 we're making, and we started that in June, I believe, and we have no money on that. So literally, what do? Let me look into the camera here. We'll go to that one shot. Literally what you do is you mortgage your house. You put your money where your mouth is, and your time and your future, and you say, I trust this will work. And that's not the only project like that we're involved in. So that's why we stagger them. You know, people would say, why don't you just make the one documentary and then get that one done? Okay, let's look at that. When you and I talked about Shenmue for the first time, it was October of 2014. We had just released Turtle Power worldwide. It just went out to worldwide digital release, I believe, at the end of September. And you called me, and I was at the gym. Yeah, I work out. That's why I look like this, of course.
It's okay.
Like a middle-aged man.
It's okay.
Flailing through a sea of adipose.
You could flaunt it. You could tell them.
Okay, I'll let them know. I was at the gym. I was actually doing crunches on the ball. And you said, you probably don't want to work on this, but I want to do a documentary on Shenmue, and I wonder if you guys want to sort of turtle power.
Was I that flimsy back then?
Yeah, you said you guys probably don't want to do this. You guys probably don't even want to be
There's this game
involved.
called Shenmue, and you drive a forklift, and you probably wouldn't like it.
Mark thought you were talking about Shenmue.
The whale.
Yeah, he told me that.
Of course.
And I said, I think they did that. It's Blackfish.
Yeah, so Adam's really into SeaWorld.
He's a huge fan. He wants to do the other side of the story. There's Blackfish, the negative. He wants to do the positive.
The fandom. Yeah.
The doc around the keeping and tormenting of killer whales. So that is not true.
No.
So you said that in October of 2014, and we immediately started working on it in December. Remember, we went to Los Angeles and
Our
we did
first
some
trip
work.
to LA. Oh, it was a good time.
Right. And that's when we started building. And in January, I was shooting Conan, and I went and shot Conan for 3 weeks. And then you keep pushing forward, and then you'll deal with the people who own the IP. So with Conan, we're dealing with Cabinet Entertainment and Fred Malmberg. And Fred would say, hey, this is happening, that is happening, and there are some possibilities with the world of Conan. You might want to change your timing to fit that bigger Conan story.
Yes.
When we were making Turtle Power, we met some people who were dealing with Peter Laird, and they said there's something happening with a turtle or a turtle feature. And then Viacom bought the turtles, and then there was a potential of a big Paramount movie, and it was smart that we wait for that. So that kind of timetable was decided by itself. With Turtle Power 2, you know, there was a great series the last several years at Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon Animation really has been knocking it out of the park. And people said, how come you never talked about Nickelodeon when you did Turtle Power? And people at Nickelodeon even reached out and said, why didn't you talk about Nickelodeon with Turtle Power? So, you know, the time was right that Nickelodeon was interested in us looking at their story. They didn't want to pay us. They didn't want to buy the doc. They just said, are you interested? And you know, you can sit and wait at home for someone to give you a check, or you can call someone at Nickelodeon and say, we'll pay for it and we'll do it ourselves on spec and we'll see where it goes. So I'm telling you all this to say that all these things are staggered and they have their own energy and their own weight, and you are forced into that timetable that the bigger story of the IP, you know, it dictates. So moving forward now, we're at a place where we know that Wisenet wants this documentary, and we know that they feel it's good for them. That Harry has told us, Harry works with Yusan, and Harry has told us, we want to be involved, we want to share what we're doing with you, we need to find a way to make that work that fits with all the machinations of getting this this game out there. So we put ourselves in service to Yusan, as we should. He's the genius behind that game that so many people love, and his timetable is the end result for us. Whatever happens there happens. We've said this a million times.
Yes.
So knowing that, now we begin to make what plans we can. You went to Japan, you made some contacts, you got some material.
We've cut some material,
Yes.
We've talked about, and this goes back to what we said at the beginning, kickstart to not to kickstart. Let's, start seeing what avenues we could pursue to help.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because we know that we're going back to Japan.
Yeah.
We don't know
It's only
when.
a matter of time.
Yeah, exactly. And Harry knows this, and Yusan knows this, and it's something that is going to take, 4 of us probably, and it's going to be a much more thorough trip than you had.
Thorough being the key word. Like, we will be digging deep.
Yeah.
Deep.
Much less drinking, I think.
Hey, I was on holiday.
Did we just go there?
I mean,
What happened, Adam?
fine.
Why do you want to let it out? What did you learn about the drinking culture of the Japanese business and hardworking person versus the Canadian filmmaker? Can you get by on 1 hour sleep, Adam?
No, I honestly, seeing the cultural norm in Japan of how the drinking culture and the work culture, kind of the balance there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it blows my mind. But my God, is it fun? Is it fun? Oh boy.
So that I don't fault you for that. You ate the fruit that was presented.
I did.
And you suckled of the juice of the
I
fruit.
suckled on it.
When we go back next time,
Yeah.
there
It'll
will
be more,
less juice.
Yeah, less juice.
There will be
more business.
way more of the camera and way less of the elbow, bending the elbow, drinking.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't fault you again. So we have that ahead of us. What else we have ahead of us is we know we're going back to Los Angeles. We want to pick up some other people who are game mavens,
Yeah.
people who are big in gaming
We've talked
culture.
about E3 as a possibility.
We've talked about E3.
Might be some good opportunities.
We've
there.
talked about the Sony event that comes up in December.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there are events that are moving forward, going to be Shenmue rich or potentially Shenmue rich, and we will be at those.
Yes.
So we have a number of those trips planned. We have a list of people that we need to get,
A list that is always growing and being built upon.
like a mushroom. It continues to grow. I don't know why a mushroom. Because of
Like-
spores and rhizomes or something.
Yeah.
Like a fungus
Sure. No, I get you.
on your toes. Let's not think about
Yeah.
that. So this idea that we have a plan moving forward and we know how demanding it will be is why we're at the point where we decide, or we have to decide, what should we do? Should we go to the fans and say, here are our plans, here's what we're thinking, we're in deep on a number of projects. And by the way, it doesn't mean that we want something for nothing. It's a pre-sale.
Yeah. I mean,
That's the
I think we
thing.
could talk about, me personally, even though Kickstarter was a huge success with Shenmue 3,
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I still feel like Kickstarter just has this, it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths, and that's just me. Maybe it's just me being self-critical and thinking that nothing will work and all my efforts will be for nothing.
You guys don't want to do a
And my
documentary
parents will
on
resent me, and my
Shenmue?
friends will stop talking to me
Yeah.
because I'm putting all this work into this movie. But then there's somebody like you. You've had success with something like this
We had
before.
a very good.
And the formula
Kickstarter
works for you.
experience.
And the fans on your end for the He-Man thing, they were saying, hey, we like this. We support you guys.
Mhm. Well, you know
And
what?
that's the question is, will we have that same support with the Shenmue fans? Do they see the value in what we're doing enough to believe in us?
Will they? Indeed.
Mm.
What I was ready to. Did you see how I was ready to say something?
You do this a lot. I was like, my hand,
Well,
I need more opiates.
This is my dog hand, and
Yeah.
it is sore. So I often stretch it because it cramps. It goes like that.
Mm.
For those of you who don't know, my hand wants to do this, cramp up, and I have to keep moving and stretching it. And it hurts all the time, 24/7. We can have a hand cast. We'll talk about more problems with my hand later. When we do a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
or when we do some kind of pre-sell, we're making a promise to people, right? So when we do that promise, we then say this. We have to be transparent. Here's where we are.
Yeah.
Here's what's happening. Here's why it's happening. Here are some bits. Here are some photographs from interviews. Here
Much
is
different
a
than
teaser.
just saying, put your blind faith in us.
That's right.
You'll get it when you get it. Yeah,
And
no.
so with Power of Grayskull, we've had a very good relationship with the fans, and we've had material like this. We've reached out to people in the community, and we've tried to keep them in the loop. And we were at PowerCon in Torrance, and they saw us there. They saw us there shooting. There's not a Shenmue convention, or we would go to that, wouldn't we? And they would see us there. Maybe we should start a
idea.
Wait a minute. Anyway, this idea of making a promise to the potential audience and saying, if you help us by pre-buying, you give us the tools, you help us get the tools to do those things that allow us to make the object that we're selling you. So it's that easy.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
Or sometimes you've talked about some fans are just so excited about it that they want to go above and beyond. You don't want to cash in on that per se, but that ups that promise that you make to them. When those people, and they do exist, when those people give you that extra money that they reach in their pockets and they throw it on the table and they say, go make that documentary, that fires me up even more. That makes me feel more responsible to them. And I think we have to deliver on whatever it is that they expect. We have to find that thing. So I'll tell you a little story. This is a He-Man related one. There's a person who lives in LA who's a real big He-Man fan, and that person put a big amount of money into our documentary. And I met with that person when I was out in LA recently, and that person knows that I have a 2-hour cut, and that person, I don't want to say who this person is a high profile. And this person said to me, you're not done. You have to get so-and-so. And I said, okay. So literally, when Isaac and I go to do our next pass, we have a hole or 2 or 3 that we've left in the dock that we know somebody's being dropped in there, or a couple of somebodies. Wow. And this person, they know that we take that seriously. Like that's a promise. And so, I don't want to say, hey, if you drop a lot of money and then you make a crazy demand, we're like, we're going to meet your demands.
Yeah, you become the secondary director.
We don't want to say that. But what we want to say is it's taken very seriously. I sat down with that person and I looked at that person eye to eye and I said to him, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. We really appreciate your generosity. And that person said, you need to get this other guy in the dock. And I said, okay. And we made every effort to do
awesome.
it. And it was really hard to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it hasn't happened yet. So knock on wood. But I say that to illustrate how serious it is. And I know you're the same as me. And I know Mark is the same. And I know Isaac is the same. We take it very seriously. You make these docs for those people. You have to deliver as much as you can, so that if somebody puts down $100 instead of $25 or whatever it is, they feel like that $100 gives them something that makes them feel the value of that $100.
Yes.
Just like you threw money into the Kickstarter.
Indeed.
Tell the fans at home how much you put in. Be honest.
Another time.
Another dime? That's terrible.
Okay, it was 750 Canadian. Which in American money is like nothing.
It's 1472.
No.
I think.
No.
What's the exchange rate? Every $160 worth of maple syrup is $2 American dollars.
It's Ontario and Manitoba still do beaver pelts. Because we never, from the French in the 1700s, remember?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Grade 5 history.
Remember very well. The seigneurial system plus maple syrup equals beaver pelts.
And then you have to carry the large double and then divide by the number of timbits still remaining after a road trip.
Then you leave Nootka Sound with the pelts.
Yep.
And you bring back the tea from Cathay.
Yes.
And you have the Canadian economic system.
It's about... My contribution was about the cost of like the worst group of 7 painting. If that makes any sense?
Nope. Not for people at home.
No.
We have no art collectors. Call in if you're an art collector. Let me just check the phone lines here.
I'll wait.
Nope. Nobody's here. No art collectors. Although there are probably Shenmue collectors out there who have Shenmue art.
Oh.
Speaking of which.
And I am one of them. Nothing official, but I'm getting there.
You are one. What are we going to leave them with today? Like, we try and give them a little bit of footage at the end of each one of these. What should we cut in there today?
Rock, paper, scissors it.
Okay, let's use dog hand. Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. We'll decide the outcome after.
Well, okay, so it doesn't matter who wins or loses.
We'll see about that.
1, 2, 3.
All right, so we're showing it. I guess we have to show it.
No one was making an engine that was capable of doing what Shenmue did, and that's why it cost so much. They had to make all these textures, make all these assets, design everything from scratch.
A lot of people talk about the budget of Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2. Well, a lot of that is actually the budget that went into research and some of the development of future games.
It was really one of the first concerted efforts to try to make a realistic game. And of course that later ended up kind of reshaping the way we think about a lot of games.
But it was tied to the platform. And if the platform wasn't going to be successful, then unfortunately there was nowhere for it to go.
It's a game that I truly enjoy, it's a game that I care about, and it's something that I'm probably going to be fighting for the rest of my life.